Rabindranath Tagore's Gitanjali. A few days ago, I said to a distinguished Bengali doctor of medicine, I know no German, yet if a translation of a German poet had moved me, I would go to British Museum and find books in English that would tell me something of his life and of the history of his thought. But though these prose translations from Rabindranath Tagore have stirred my blood as nothing has for years, I shall not know anything of his life and of the movements of thought that he made them possible. If some Indian traveler will not tell me, it seemed to him natural that I should be moved, for he said, I read Rabindranath every day. To read one line of his is to forget all the troubles of the world, I said. An Englishman living in London in the reign of Richard II, had he been shown translations from Petrarch or from Dante, and would have found no books to answer his questions, but would have questions from some Florentine banker or Lombard merchant, as I question you. For all I know, so abundant and simple is his poetry, the new Renaissance has been born in your country, and I shall never know of it except by hearsay. The Bengali doctor answered, We have other poets, but none that are his equal. We call this the epoch of Rabindranath. No poet seems to me as famous in Europe as he is among us. He is as great in music as in poetry, and in songs are sung from the west of India into Burma, where Bangla is spoken. He was already famous at 19 when he wrote his first novel, and plays which he wrote when he was little older are still played in Kolkata. I so much admire the completeness of his life. When he was very young, he wrote much of natural objects, as he would still sit all day in his garden. From his 25th year or so to his 35th perhaps, when he had a great sorrow, he wrote the most beautiful love poetry in our language. And then he said with deep emotion, Words can never express what I owed at 17 to his love poetry. After that, his art grew deeper. It became religious and philosophical. All the aspirations of mankind are in his hymns. He is the first among our saints who has not refused to live, but has spoken out of life itself, and this is why we give him our love. I may have changed his well chosen words in my memory, but not his thought. A little while ago, he was to read divine service in one of our churches. We of the Brahmo Samaj use your word church in English. It was the largest in Kolkata, and not only was it crowded, but the streets were all but impassable because of the people. Other Indians came to see me, and their reverence for his man sounded strange in our world, where we hide great and little things under the same veil of obvious comedy and half-serious depreciation. When we were making the cathedrals, had we a like reverence for our great men? Every morning at 3, I thought, for I have seen it, and one said to me, He sits immovable in contemplation, and for 2 hours does not awake from his reverie upon the nature of God. His father, the Maharishi, would sometimes sit there all through the next day. Once upon a river, he fell into the contemplation because of the beauty of the landscape, and the rowers waited for 8 hours before they could continue their journey. He then told me of Mr. Tagore's family, and how for generations great men have come out of his cradles. Today, he said, there are Gaganendranath and Abanindranath Tagore, who are artists, and the Dijendranath, Rabindranath's brother, who is a great philosopher. The squirrels come from the boughs and climb onto his knees, and the birds alight on his hands. I notice in this man's thought a sense of visible beauty and meaning, as though they held that doctrine of Nietzsche, that we must not believe in the moral or intellectual beauty which does not sooner or later impress itself upon physical things. I said, in the East you know how to keep a family illustrious. The other day, the curator of the museum pointed out to me a little dark skinned man who was arranging their Chinese prints and said, that is the hereditary connoisseur of the Mikado. He is the 14th of his family to hold the post.